It's almost Christmas, and that means you no doubt have seen hilarious memes like this one, or even this one. Funny, side-splitting memes that demonstrate a very important point. Despite having 4,967 versions of A Christmas Carol to choose from, a lot of people just absolutely do not understand what this story is about. Look, I'm not here to argue that Scrooge wasn't greedy or that selfishness is a virtue or any other Wall Street nonsense. I'm just here to say that if you think Scrooge's primary fault was the accumulation of wealth, you objectively don't understand what that story is saying about him. People love to point to the scene where Scrooge refuses to give Bob Cratchit a lump of coal to heat the office as proof of how stingy he is. And he is stingy, absolutely, yes. But the thing you guys keep forgetting is that Scrooge feels that cold just as acutely as Bob. He's not denying the coal purely out of stinginess. He's denying it because he doesn't care. Look at the way he lives. His house, admittedly, is usually depicted as relatively large, but look at what's inside that house. It's empty. It's unlit. It's unheated. Scrooge sits there and eats gruel. Scrooge is not one of these rich guys who would be flying all over the place in a private jet. If Scrooge had to travel anywhere, for business most certainly, he'd be riding in coach with the rest of us. And you know he's not paying for that in-flight Wi-Fi. The thing about Scrooge is that he's built up walls around himself. The thing about Scrooge is that he doesn't care about anyone or anything, not even himself. The bad choices of his life have alienated him from everyone and everything that ever mattered to him. All that he has left is his business, and he's going to run that with cold, rational efficiency. Coal for the fire? That's a luxury. That's a creature comfort. And to Scrooge, he literally doesn't understand why those things would be desirable. He considers it a moral failure in other people when they spend money on things like that because the point of a comfort is to make you feel better. And Scrooge feels nothing. The steps of his redemption aren't there to teach him that money bad. The ghosts are there to show him what the absence of love has done to his life. Christmas Past shows him the loves that he's lost. Primarily his sister Fan, the only person who ever loved him when he was a child, and then Isabel, the girl who got away because he forgot how to care. Now, you could argue that he lost Isabel because of money. He's so obsessed with his business that he actively neglects her. But not Fan. Fan had an unspecified illness in the book, although a lot of the adaptations have made it so that she died giving birth to her son, Fred. Now, I like this particular headcanon because it makes all the Fred stuff in the story even more poignant. Christmas Present shows Scrooge what nephew Fred is up to today. A nephew that he has pushed away for his entire life because seeing him reminds him too much of the beloved sister that he has lost. It's too painful to be around Fred, so he shoves him aside. But he sees that despite everything, Fred still loves him and has hope for him. And he sees the Cratchit family, warm, loving, despite the fact that they have no money. Their wealth isn't financial, it's spiritual. The Cratchit house is full of the love that Scrooge has denied himself. Christmas Future shows him the consequences of a life without love. After Scrooge's death in this future, the jokes being made aren't about how much money he's got, they're all about how cold he was. And the most important part comes after his redemption. Sure, Scrooge starts walking around spending money left and right. He gives money to the charity he neglected. He gives Bob Cratchit a raise. He uses his money to make sure that Tiny Tim is healthy again. But he's not doing that because he's scared of the ghosts. He's doing that because they taught him how to love again. When he wakes up on Christmas morning, he shouts out, "I am as light as a feather. I am as happy as an angel. I'm as giddy as a schoolboy." You're telling me these are the words of somebody paralyzed with fear? No, these are the words of somebody who has been fundamentally transformed. Just like in real life, if he was only doing this because he felt like he was being forced to, that doesn't actually make him a better person. But that's not it. He's not afraid. Scrooge is, for the first time, in love with life. Scrooge's greed at the beginning of the story is a symptom of his isolation. His generosity at the end of the story, that's a symptom of his compassion. It's not that money is bad, it's that love is good. Again, I'm not here making any sort of pro-greed statement. I'm just saying that if you think that's all there is to the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, you're missing a very important part. And speaking of love, if you haven't already checked it out, I've got 24 free Christmas short stories on my website at blakempt.com/Christmas. This year's new story is coming in just a couple of days. And if you're a fan of A Christmas Carol, may I recommend my 2023 story, Good Choices. It's my wife's favorite, although she might be biased.
And God bless us, everyone.